So I decided to sit in this room because my life is so small now that I like to switch rooms every now and then. I haven't been well all week, so I've had a massive flare up.
I was expecting you to be in bed.
I'm not in bed. I'm up today, but I am missing a concert that has been planned. Well, we had tickets for it for 2 years, so it was supposed to be on in 2020, but obviously it got cancelled then, and last year it was a no-go again. So the tickets were for today, and it's called the Hella Mega Tour. So it's Green Day, Weezer, and Fall Out Boy, and all our family and friends are going. And I've been so rubbish this week. I was going to swear then. I've been so rubbish this week that I decided that I couldn't do it. The travel alone will make me too sick. And then I've got the worry that if I'm up there and I need to come home, I disrupt everyone else's day out. So I'm home alone, and I thought I'd sit in the music room. This is my other half's music room. It's pretty cool. We've got an accordion, a piano, 4 or 5 guitars, a keyboard, a harmonica, cymbals, electric drums, amplifiers, you name it, we've got it in here. So I thought I'd sit in here because it's music themed.
Oh, that kind of makes me feel a bit warm, but it makes me feel really sad as well.
Well, it is what it is, isn't it?
I know. I'm sorry you couldn't go. Do you play, or does Ian play? Who's the musician?
I don't play much. I play the recorder. Don't laugh.
No, I think that's brilliant. I love the recorder. Do you have really big recorders? Do you remember?
No, nothing that fancy. I'm talking like a little school recorder. In 2020, when I was bored in lockdown, I decided, because I bought myself a saxophone, right, for my 40th birthday. I've got a beautiful saxophone over there. It's beautiful. It's engraved and everything. And that was my mission, was to learn to play the sax. Anyway, I got waylaid with work and life, and I just didn't find the time to play it. And then when I finally had time to play, it was lockdown, and I realised that I needed lessons, and of course it was lockdown, so I couldn't get any. So I decided to go right back to basics instead of giving up on music completely, and go back to what I used to be able to play at school, which was a recorder. So I started learning things like Lord of the Rings on it, and all these nerdy songs that I love.
Was it London's Burning and Three Blind Mice and stuff like that? Were you doing that? We're just relearning all of that?
Yeah, because there's something really nice about it. It doesn't matter what you play music wise, as long as you can play it, there's loads of satisfaction in playing a musical instrument. So yeah, I started learning to play the recorder, and I still haven't got round to my saxophone. I haven't even got back to my recorder since I've been ill. But yeah, Ian's the musical one, and he can literally pick up any musical instrument. Here's a violin. He bought that, and he could literally play it within a couple of days. So he's like some musical whiz, and I'm rubbish at it, but I try.
But you love it, and that's all that matters.
I love music, yeah.
So
but yeah.
Have you done any musical kind of, I don't want to say therapy, but have you found music has helped you during the last 15 months? Have you been able to play anything with the breathing issues or?
No. So I haven't picked up the recorder. Haven't picked up my recorder since I became ill.
And is that because it would be difficult to breathe? Yeah,
you can hear me breathing now. So when I'm talking a lot, I struggle to breathe a little bit. But the first sort of, I'd say, first 10 months, I probably maybe less than that, maybe 6-7 months, I couldn't really handle a lot of noise or music. So even the TV was just too confusing for my head. And I've had some of that back the last week. You know, that feeling like everything's confusing. Even trying to decide whether you're going to brush your teeth or get a drink is like, it's overwhelming. I can't quite fathom what I'm going to do next today, or if I can even do it.
Can't make any decisions, can't go from one, well, can't even make a decision about what task to do, can't even work out how to do that task.
No. And you know, it's a very scary place to be, because all of a sudden all the normal things that you do become very overwhelming. And even, you know, so for example, if you're laying in bed and you're thinking, I really need to drink, but I also need to go for a wee. It's like, first of all, you've got to get yourself out of bed. And once you've got yourself out of bed, then you've got to make it to the toilet. And if you've made it to the toilet, then you've got to decide whether you're strong enough to get down the stairs and then make a drink and then carry it back up. And all these things are going around in your head, and it just becomes way too overwhelming. You just end up laying in bed thinking, I can't get up to do anything. Music has been, it's been one of the things I've really missed. And I did manage to go to a concert. I've been to a couple since I've been ill. So the first one I went to completely did me in. I sat a lot, but I was sort of knocked off my feet for days afterwards. And I think it was where my heart rate was just so high the whole evening, and then the post-exertional malaise thing kicked in. And it was the wrong time to do it. The second concert I went to was fully seated, and it was very chilled out, and it was like an acoustic set, and it was just down the road from me, so that was actually quite nice. Even though I did pay for it, I still had to have 2 or 3 days in bed after. But yeah, music for me now, I think it's one of the things that can lift me up, as long as I'm not in that really confused, like I have been this week. I couldn't listen to any music then. But when I'm starting to come out of that phase, I find music really helps me. And I know a lot of people find that different songs really resonate with them at different times in their lives, and they can relate to the words, and it helps you, you know, sometimes if you need a good cry, if you listen to a sad song, it helps you cry, doesn't it, and get that emotion out. And it's the same with sort of uplifting songs as well. So I think music's a massive part of my life. I don't know, is it yours?
I'm a big 80s music fan, so I'm a bit older than you, so I'm kind of grew up
like Duran Duran and
so
Wham.
So yes, and Adamant.
Yeah
So
Stand and Deliver, Your Money or Your Life.
Yes. And I was just thinking, as you were talking about going to concerts, I can't imagine going to a concert on so many different levels. The sensory overload would be absolutely huge. It would just be way too much. I find it quite difficult being inside if there's any people as well. It's not quite claustrophobia, but I would much rather be outside. I've always been a little bit like that anyway, but now I couldn't do it. And I am going to, what I like to do music wise is go to Rewind Festival. And Rewind's an 80s festival, so it's all people my age. And I've been going for years, and I managed it last year, but it was a real struggle, but I took it very, very, very carefully. So that was in August. So I was from March to, so what's that, 5 months, I think then. So I was 5 months in, and I had just discovered phlebotomy. So I just had some blood taken, and I was feeling a little bit better, and I thought, right, I can do this. But I couldn't, I think I danced for about 10 seconds, and I'm a dancer. So when I think about music, you can't get me off a dance floor.
I'm the same.
Yeah, when I lived in Tokyo, I'd go to a club, an 80s club at 11 o'clock, and I'd walk out at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I literally would not have stopped dancing that entire time. So
dear, God help us if we get better, because we'll be going clubbing.
I know. So I'm all about the dancing. So to go to Rewind last year and not be able to dance I was a bit sad. but I was just so relieved to just even be there. And I would normally we would walk back and forth between the tent and the arena several times. It's this tiny festival, you can do that, you know, all day you spend going back and forth. And I think I could manage it once a day, and it was a struggle, real struggle. I'd have to have breaks on the way. So it's going to be interesting to see what it will be like this year, because my brain will be more willing, more ready to enjoy it, and feel like I feel like I'm better than I am. I don't know if you get that. My head will be, oh, you know, I can have conversations now, so I can go to rewind and maybe I'll be able to dance, and I won't. So I'll have to work really hard to not be disappointed and to just be happy that I'm there. But my costume's not going to fit me. So I have, we were talking about this on the group, weren't we, about all the weight, either gain or loss a lot of us have had. And I had a bespoke Wonder Woman costume made for my 50th birthday last year, and I wore that to Rewind last year. And since then I've lost more than 3 stone. And I tried on my Wonder Woman pants last night. And they're just massive. I'm just going to look like a 50-year-old with great big baggy Wonder Woman pants on. It's not.
You wouldn't ever look like that.
So I'm going to have to do something about my Wonder Woman pants. So
yeah, the weight thing's been weird, isn't it? Because I actually, to start with, I put on loads of weight, and my thyroid levels were what's the one where you put on weight? It's hyper, isn't it?
I don't know.
Hypo. It's one of the two. I was putting on weight because my thyroid levels were going up and down, and then all of a sudden in about July I lost 20 pounds, like literally in a few weeks. It dropped off of me. And it was really quite scary because every day I could feel myself shrinking. And then I had a bit of a period just after Christmas where I started putting it on again, and that's where I am. I'm kind of gradually just getting bigger again, and it's like my stomach it's not all, it feels like fluid. I feel like I've got a lot of fluid around my stomach, so I feel like I'm retaining fluid, and my ankles are swollen as well. So, you know, I don't think it's all food, because I'm not eating that much. You know, I tried having 3 small meals a day, but it was just, I was too nauseous in the morning. I'm very, very nauseous all the time, but the morning seems to be the worst, so I just couldn't eat first thing. So now I eat about 11 o'clock in the morning, and that's when I have my breakfast, and it's only something like yogurt, like soy yogurt and some fruit. It's nothing massive, and then I'll have dinner at dinner time, and that's about it. So yeah, the weight loss things perplex me a little bit. The weight gain, weight loss.
Are you fermenting food in your gut, do you think?
Maybe, yeah, possibly. Who knows? It's one of those great unknowns. I haven't checked my thyroid for a while, so.
I did because I didn't start losing weight straight away. I started gaining weight for the first few months, and then that might have been the time I got drunk on an apple. So yeah, all these weird food reactions that we have, and the weirdest one for me was when I had an apple and I got drunk. It was like I'd had a glass of wine, and it happened really quickly. And which was, you know, it might have been fun if it wasn't. Yeah, it's quite disturbing. You know, we kind of laugh about these reactions, but when it's a very unexpected one, like you eat an apple, which is something you've eaten for years and never had any problem with, and then suddenly you literally feel like you're drinking wine, that can be quite unsettling, can't it? So yeah, so that it was from that I then discovered, or maybe something in my gut is fermenting food, because I was eating so healthily it didn't make any sense to be putting on weight. In the first few months kept putting on weight, and then I did a combination of an anti-candida diet and low.
That's no fungus, isn't it? No mushrooms, no fungus, no sugar.
It was all initially. What I did was cut out sugar completely, and I don't have added sugar anyway, but I do eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, and I cut out sugar completely, all fruit and vegetables, everything, and did that just for a month. And the idea with that was that if you do that, you're starving any bad bacteria. So the bad bacteria like sugar. So you've got to starve them first of all, and then start just letting them all come through your body. So I had a charcoal binder. So I think you're supposed to have a binder and have a something to support your liver, because you're going to start a detox process. I had some support, functional medicine support, as I was going through that. So I'd recommend somebody, if people wanted to do it, they really looked into it and maybe got some support. But I did that for a month and I felt amazing. I mean, comparatively for someone who's vaccine injured, everything's relative, isn't it? Oh, I felt amazing. I mean, I managed to walk up the stairs today. Oh, what an amazing day it is. So relatively, I felt amazing. And then after that month, I started slowly adding in other foods. But that weight just carried on. I just kept going at least 1 kilo a week for months.
Yeah.
I can't remember quite how we got onto that. Look, we were going to talk about, and we haven't even introduced ourselves. No. So should we do that? And we were actually going to, we had a topic, but we've kind of gone off on an interesting tangent, which is what our conversations are often like anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, no, I think they know who we are. Our names are on the thing anyway.
No, that doesn't come up though when I make the video. The names, no, so you're going to have to go on, introduce yourself and the group.
Hi, my name's Charlotte and I'm the founder of UKCV Family.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm a member of UKCV Family and I'm the author of the COVID Vaccine Adverse Reaction Survival Guide. And today I've actually even made notes, but we've just talked about other things. What we were going to talk about today, and it might go into 2 sessions, we might do another session on this. We want to talk about tests and all sorts of different tests that we find ourselves doing throughout this whole process and what it means, and just kind of see where that conversation would lead us. I started off, I thought, I was a bit curious. I thought, I wonder how many tests I've had through this whole process of dealing with a vaccine injury. And I had a little count up, and not including CT scans or MRI scans or anything like that.
We're just talking blood tests, aren't we?
Just blood tests, yeah.
And we're not talking individual tests. We're talking how many blood draws we've had.
How many blood draws, how many sets of tests have we gone for? So within those blood draws, you might have, I mean, I think the biggest one I might have had 10 or 12.
Yeah.
One, but then sometimes you might go and have 2 or 3. So I worked out, as of yesterday, because I had another set done yesterday, I've had 20 sets of blood tests done in the last 15 months.
Oh, I'm beating you.
What are you on?
30.
Are you on 30? Oh my goodness.
So 16 of those I paid for myself, and 14 were done through the NHS by different doctors, hospitals, etc.
Okay, I didn't work out the division, but same as you, I've done some privately and some on the NHS. And I think when I started this process, I don't know about you, I wasn't aware of all of the different ways we can have private testing done.
No.
So
no.
It's not something I learnt about from my doctor, or it wasn't something I found, the information wasn't very readily made available to me. I had to go kind of hunting or learn about it from other people, which is, I suppose, how we learn these things. But I did find it interesting that GPs, maybe they're not allowed to, didn't suggest, or you could have this private testing done or this private testing. I'm not sure if they're allowed to recommend private testing.
No, I mean, my experience of taking private tests to GPs, my when this first all started for me back in February, March time last year, I actually did. So I'd already had one thyroid test done with my GP, and then in between that one and the next one they did for me, I did my own one, which was an advanced thyroid function test through a very well-known company that a lot of us use online. And you do actually get a proper blood draw. It's not just a spot of blood or a finger thing.
Is that with Medichecks then? Should we talk about
with Medichecks? Yeah.
Is it with Medichecks?
Yeah, with Medichecks. I've done a lot through Medichecks. So I went and had that done, and I took it to my GP, and because the results were off, and her first reaction was, oh, we don't like looking at these tests because they're not always accurate. And it wasn't until I explained to my GP that actually this is a proper blood test done with phlebotomy, not just a finger spot or not just a lancet. You know, it's a proper in a laboratory done. And she actually looks at the results, and the Medichecks website is really good, isn't it? It shows you all the levels and what they mean, and the advanced one is really good. So and then she sort of like, you know, she appreciated the results were accurate.
I love the Medichecks tests, actually. I want to explain a little bit what, for people who haven't done them. I think it's something I'll probably continue doing maybe once a year, because I did the Well Woman. Is it a Well Woman test?
Yeah.
Well Woman. I think you did it as well, didn't you? I like the format it comes in. I like that it shows visually whether you're within range. It shows what the normal, although that, you know, we try not to look at normal, look at optimal levels. And then it has quite helpful information about how you can optimize your levels, actually. And we don't get anything like that when we have NHS tests done. I found the interpretation really useful.
Yeah, so did I. And I've gone on to do many tests through Medichecks, because obviously throughout this whole thing we're trying to work out what is going on with us, and the waits to see consultants are so long that there's been times where I've thought, I'm just going to pay for it, I'm just going to do it myself before. So yeah, I think I've spent nearly £2,000 through Medichecks over the last year. Their Well Woman one is very good. Like you say, it has 48 or 49 biomarkers, so it goes through your full blood count, your iron, your B12, your minerals, your vitamins, you know, you name it, you've got all of it on there, all the basics anyway. And it is really interesting, because if you do it more than once, they give you like a little tracker, so you can actually see how your iron has gone down or up or stayed the same on the little graph. And yeah, it's very interesting.
So I find them quite empowering, all of those kinds of tests, because you could then set your own nutrition plan, perhaps, to if one item was a bit low, then you think, right, I'm going to make that a focus, I want to try and boost that, I want to optimize that. Then you can spend 6 months or longer focusing on that, and then do your test and see how well you were getting on. And I've been having testing, just basic blood testing with the NHS for years, actually, once a year, because of a previous medical condition many years ago. So I'm on their system, that's actually why I was given the vaccine much earlier than other people my age, because of this historical condition. And I get the tests done every January, but there's never any interpretation, and there's never a discussion about it, and there isn't any information there that will allow us to educate ourselves, I suppose.
No.
Blood tests, whereas I find the Medichecks ones really lends itself to that.
Yeah. I think that the most expensive test that I've paid for was probably sending my blood to Germany, and that all came about last October, when I was already speaking to Jana, who lives in Germany, and she was kind of really pushing to find out why vaccine injured people are injured in Germany. And she'd spoken to this company, this research laboratory called Trend, and they'd agreed to let vaccine injured people test their blood there with their special ELISA. which tested for autoantibodies against ACE2 and certain different what they call G-coupled protein receptors. So I'm not going to explain that. I'm not scientific enough to sit here and explain all that correctly, so I'm not going to bother. I could probably hash it, but I'm not going to. I'll leave that to the experts. But basically, I had to find a way to get the kit, to get my blood drawn, and then I had to find someone local who would do it, because obviously if it's not through Medichecks, you can't just go and book in at your local hospital for a fee. So I had to find someone that would do it, and then they had to centrifuge it, and then I had to get it couriered within a day to Germany. And yeah, I think it was, all of that included was nearly £1,000. And I still haven't really found anyone that knows what to do with it, the results. So I was positive for quite a few. But yeah, there's, you know, I suppose it is research, so it's not going to become, you know, there's not going to be much knowledge on it for a long time yet, and whether these certain autoantibodies actually mean as much as what some people think they mean or not. You know, I think personally, I think they have a role to play, quite a big one. But what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You know, there's so many things that are going on with us, isn't there, that we just don't know. So that was probably the most expensive one. And do I regret it? No, I would, if I had that £1,000 again and I was presented that opportunity again, I would do it. However, with funds being tight now, having not been able to work for over a year, no, I can't afford to repeat a test that's not going to give me any treatment. So what's the most interesting test that you've had done?
Actually, this is quite a good one to finish on. We've nearly run out of time already. It's gone so quickly. We're going to have to talk more about tests. We'll do another next time. I think we should do a bit more on it. The most interesting test I did was one my vet did, and I mentioned this in my speech at the Better Way conference. But I think, yeah, we should finish on that. So I'll tell the story about the test. So I had signs fairly early on, like within the first couple of weeks after the vaccine. I had signs of kidney failure. I was crying a lot and my tears smelt of ammonia. My urine was brown, and there was a third sign. There was something else, and it was all saying kidney failure, and I couldn't get anybody to test my urine. I couldn't.
Is brown wheat kidney failure then?
I suppose it's one of them. I can't remember. This feels like quite a long time ago now, and I've, you know what it's like. You have one thing or the other to deal with. So I don't know about you, but I can't retain all of the details about one particular symptom I was dealing with. So it's like just putting out fires. Like, okay, I remember they were all signs of kidney failure, and friends, one as a nurse, and people very concerned, saying you must get this tested. And then I dealt with the signs of kidney failure and got on with the next thing. Anyway, so I had all these signs and I couldn't get the doctors to test. I had family saying you have to get tested, you have to get tested. So I just thought, sod it, I'm going to ask the vet. And and I turned up. I didn't even check with him beforehand. I just turned up there, and I love the vet. We have a great relationship. And I just said, you need to test this for me, please. Can you test human urine, please? And do you know, I might even have just left it on the counter. It's all a bit of a blur now. Anyway, he did it, and that same day I had the results a couple of hours later, and it was indeed showing signs of kidney failure. And I did say to him, have you ever tested human urine? But he said never. He's never ever been asked. Done it. I've never told anyone who it was who did it or anything, but all of his staff in there they couldn't believe it, and they thought it was hilarious. They were absolutely wonderful. But the really good thing that came from that was that a couple of days later I had a conversation with the GP, and I was fuming and I was ready to go absolutely nuts at her and just say, I can't believe it that I'm having to get my urine tested by my vet. And you know, I was full on prepared now to have a real go at her. No, and all she said was, and what were the results? She was calm. She handled me brilliantly, and I instantly had respect for her. Actually, she wasn't dismissive. She handled an extremely annoyed person very, very well. She said, what were the results? And oh, okay, so she's interested in hearing about this. So I told her about it, and from that moment on, she's been fantastic. So
what happened about the kidney failure? How did that resolve, or did you just
I did it with food? And
right.
Yeah, so I did it with food. Hibiscus tea, the big thing. I couldn't.
That's what I've just been drinking.
Well, I said to you, I think was it a couple of weeks ago, you had some issues going on like that, and I said get yourself hibiscus tea and just keep drinking it. And they resolved, didn't they, for you with that? Yeah. So I did that, but then there were a couple of other things that I did as well, and I'll try to look that up and add that here. So we're out of time.
Oh, I was about to tell you about my 24-hour urine collection.
Shall we leave that for next week? Because I want to know all about that. I want all the details. I don't want them rushed at all. I love a good wee story.